In a startling declaration that has reverberated through international diplomatic circles, President Donald Trump recently proposed a bold and controversial plan to take control of Gaza, suggesting that the United States should manage the territory and facilitate the relocation of its Palestinian inhabitants. This announcement came during a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, marking Trump's first in-person engagement with a world leader since his return to power. The implications of this proposal, announced on February 4, 2025, are profound and raise numerous questions regarding legality, humanitarian concerns, and geopolitical stability. At a news conference, Trump described Gaza as a site of devastation, calling for the relocation of the 2 million Palestinians currently living there to neighboring countries such as Egypt and Jordan. He stated the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and we will do a job with it too, likening the initiative to a real estate project. Trump framed the takeover as a humanitarian necessity, asserting that the living conditions in Gaza are intolerable. He promised to transform the beleaguered enclave into the Riviera of the Middle East, a vision that is both ambitious and contentious. However, the proposal has met immediate backlash. Critics have highlighted the historical context of Gaza, which has been a flashpoint in the Arab-Israeli conflict for decades. The notion of forcibly relocating an entire population echoes painful memories of past displacements and raises serious ethical concerns. What is needed is the end of the occupation and the aggression against our people, not expelling them from their land, stated Sami Abu Zuri, a senior official with Hamas, which has governed Gaza for the last 2 decades. The idea of a mass displacement is not only controversial but also legally dubious, as it violates international laws regarding the forcible relocation of populations. Trump's proposal marks a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy, contrasting sharply with his previous stance of withdrawing from Middle Eastern entanglements. His administration, seeking to navigate the complexities of the Israel-Hamas conflict, now finds itself advocating for a direct U.S. governance model in Gaza. This pivot raises questions about the legal foundations of such an action. Trump did not provide any legal authority for the takeover, nor did he acknowledge the international consensus against forced relocations. Netanyahu, who appeared supportive of Trump's vision, expressed confidence in the feasibility of the plan, stating, "You cut to the chase. This is the kind of thinking that will reshape the Middle East and bring peace." Yet, analysts warn that the proposal could exacerbate tensions in an already volatile region. Both Egypt and Jordan have expressed their unwillingness to accept a large influx of Palestinian refugees, fearing the destabilizing effects on their own societies. The timing of Trump's announcement also complicates ongoing negotiations for a ceasefire following the recent conflict between Israel and Hamas, which resulted in significant loss of life and widespread destruction in Gaza. The humanitarian situation remains dire, with many returning to find their homes and communities in ruins. Reports indicate that the rebuilding process could take over a decade, making Trump's claims of rapid development seem overly optimistic. As the discussion surrounding Trump's proposal unfolds, the international community remains on high alert, with ongoing concerns about Iran's nuclear ambitions and the broader implications of U.S. involvement in the region. The potential for further conflict looms large. Trump's directive to return to a maximum pressure approach towards Iran underscores the precarious balance of power in the Middle East. In conclusion, the unfolding narrative surrounding Trump's Gaza proposal is emblematic of the complex interplay between domestic politics and international relations. As the administration seeks to navigate this tumultuous landscape, the consequences of such bold declarations could resonate far beyond Gaza, influencing global perceptions of U.S. foreign policy and its role in the Middle East. Future developments will likely hinge on the responses from regional powers and the international community, as well as the evolving humanitarian situation in Gaza itself. In a significant shift that may reverberate across the tech industry and beyond, Google has rescinded its long-standing commitment not to deploy artificial intelligence for military weapons or surveillance purposes. This decision, reported on February 5, 2025, marks a pivotal moment for a company that has previously positioned itself as a leader in ethical AI development. The implications of this move could not only reshape Google's operational ethos but also set a precedent for the broader tech landscape where the balance between innovation and ethical responsibility is continuously tested. The announcement comes amidst a growing debate over the role of AI in society, particularly in military contexts. Critics argue that the potential for misuse of AI technologies in warfare and surveillance raises profound ethical questions. Google's original pledge made in 2018 was part of a broader initiative to ensure that its AI technologies would be used to benefit society, emphasizing transparency and ethical standards. This reversal has prompted concerns from advocates who fear that AI could exacerbate conflicts or infringe on civil liberties. In a statement, a Google spokesperson indicated that the decision was motivated by the need to adapt to changing global security dynamics. As the world evolves, so must our capabilities, the spokesperson said. We are committed to ensuring that AI technologies can be used responsibly while also contributing to national defense and security. This rationale reflects a broader trend in the tech sector where companies are increasingly called upon to provide technological solutions to complex geopolitical challenges. Meanwhile, another notable development in the tech world relates to Elon Musk's initiatives aimed at climate change. Reports indicate that potentially life-saving climate programs are facing delays as Musk has shifted his focus toward the U.S. Agency for International Development (USAID). Critics are raising alarms about the impact this redirection could have on funding and resources needed for urgent climate interventions. Environmentalists argue that while the attention on climate is welcome, the disruption of established programs could hinder progress at a time when immediate action is critical. As these discussions unfold, they intersect with broader societal issues, including the ongoing humanitarian crises and geopolitical tensions around the globe. For instance, the recent suggestion by former President Donald Trump that the U.S. should take over the Gaza Strip has been met with widespread condemnation from both allies and adversaries, further complicating the international landscape in which tech companies operate. In the context of these significant geopolitical events, the technology sector finds itself at a crossroads. The decisions made by leading companies like Google and influential figures such as Musk reflect not only corporate strategy but also a response to the urgent calls for innovation that addresses pressing global issues. The outcomes of these decisions will likely influence not just the future of technology but also the ethical frameworks that govern its application in society. As the tech industry navigates these turbulent waters, the potential for AI to play a role in both humanitarian efforts and military applications raises critical questions about the direction of innovation. Will companies prioritize ethical considerations over profit margins, or will the allure of military contracts sway them into murky waters? The coming months will be crucial in determining how these narratives unfold and what they mean for the future interplay between technology ethics and global responsibility. The world watches closely to see how these powerful entities will balance their ambitions with the weight of their societal impact. In a surprising turn of events in the automotive industry, Nissan has announced that it will not pursue a merger with Honda, effectively quashing plans to create the world's third-largest automaker. This decision comes amid a broader context of industry consolidation where partnerships are often seen as essential for survival in an increasingly competitive market. The proposed merger had been touted as a way to pool resources and innovate more effectively in the face of rising costs and evolving consumer demands, particularly for electric vehicles. Nissan's rejection of the deal signals a significant shift in its strategic direction. The company has been navigating a challenging landscape characterized by supply chain disruptions and a shift towards sustainable mobility solutions. A spokesperson for Nissan stated, "While collaboration can yield benefits, we believe that maintaining our independence will allow us to capitalize on our unique strengths and strategies." This sentiment reflects a growing trend among automakers to prioritize agility and brand identity over large-scale mergers. The decision is also reflective of the wider automotive industry's hesitance towards consolidation. Despite the potential benefits of shared technology and reduced operational costs, many companies are wary of the complexities that come with merging corporate cultures and operational systems. Analysts have noted that Nissan's choice may stem from a desire to retain control over its innovation roadmap, particularly as the electric vehicle market heats up. Data from industry analysts underscore the urgency of this sector's evolution. Global electric vehicle sales are projected to surpass 30 million units annually by 2030, a staggering increase from just a few million in recent years. As automakers scramble to meet these targets, the focus on developing proprietary technologies such as battery advancements and autonomous driving capabilities is becoming paramount. Nissan's leadership appears to recognize that a merger with Honda could dilute its ability to innovate independently in this critical area. The impact of Nissan's decision may extend beyond its own corporate walls. The move could influence other automotive players contemplating similar partnerships. Experts suggest that we may see a trend where companies choose to collaborate on specific projects rather than full-fledged mergers, allowing for greater flexibility and innovation without the baggage that often accompanies larger corporate unions. Looking ahead, Nissan's decision not to merge with Honda could set the stage for a new era in the automotive industry where brands emphasize their unique value propositions. As competition intensifies, it will be crucial for manufacturers to carve out their niches, especially in the fast-evolving electric vehicle landscape. The coming years will likely reveal whether Nissan's strategy will pay off in terms of market share and technological leadership, or whether the absence of a strategic partnership will hinder its growth in a rapidly transforming market. In a dramatic escalation of tensions, the European Union is preparing to retaliate against big tech as part of a broader reaction to the Trump administration's threats of tariffs on European goods. This potential trade conflict, which threatens to drag services into a contentious trade war, marks a significant moment in transatlantic relations as officials in Brussels explore the use of their anti-coercion instrument ACI. This mechanism, originally conceived during Trump's first term, allows the EU to impose restrictions on U.S. service industries, including major technology firms, should it determine that the U.S. is using tariffs to coerce policy changes. According to sources familiar with the European Commission's deliberations, the ACI is viewed as the EU's most robust response that remains within the bounds of international law. All options are on the table, stated an official, signaling the readiness to take decisive action against American tech giants if Trump proceeds with his tariff threats. The ACI, which came into force in 2023, was initially meant to deter China and is now being considered in response to Trump's recent provocations, including his demands for Denmark to consider selling Greenland and his insistence that the EU halt enforcement actions against U.S. technology companies. The implications of this potential trade escalation could be profound. The EU's ability to revoke intellectual property rights or restrict market access for financial services groups would have far-reaching consequences for American firms operating in Europe. During a closed-door meeting in Warsaw, EU trade ministers expressed overwhelming support for punitive action against the U.S. if necessary, although some member states voiced concerns about the economic ramifications of entering a trade war amid a sluggish recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Trade Commissioner Maros Šefčovič emphasized the EU's commitment to negotiate and avoid tariffs, yet warned, "If we are hit, we will react firmly." The EU currently faces a significant trade deficit with the US in services, even as it enjoys a surplus in goods. This ongoing imbalance adds complexity to the negotiations as the bloc weighs its options carefully. The stakes are high as the EU considers its next steps. Any retaliatory measures must be proportionate, supported by evidence of damage to EU industries, and approved by at least 15 of the 27 member states, a process that can take weeks. The last time the EU implemented retaliatory tariffs against the US in 2018, it took 3 months to finalize the measures. Meanwhile, the political landscape is shifting rapidly. Trump's threats of tariffs are seen as an attempt to bolster his standing ahead of the upcoming election, targeting not just the EU but also leveraging trade tensions to rally support among his base. The potential for a trade war looms large, with EU officials recognizing the need for a swift and united response to safeguard their interests. As the situation develops, the focus will remain on how both sides navigate this increasingly precarious landscape. The EU's readiness to utilize the ACI underscores a new chapter in its approach to trade relations with the US, one marked by a willingness to assert its economic power in the face of external pressures. Observers will be watching closely to see how these tensions unfold and what it may mean for the future of transatlantic trade. In recent days, the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East has been significantly shaken by controversial statements and policies emanating from the United States, particularly under the leadership of President Donald Trump, who has recently taken office for a second term. His declaration that the U.S. would take over the Gaza Strip has drawn widespread condemnation from global leaders and rights activists alike, with many describing it as a thinly veiled call for ethnic cleansing. As tensions mount, the ramifications of such rhetoric extend far beyond the region, igniting fears of a humanitarian crisis and a potential escalation in violence. During a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump asserted that Palestinians have no alternative but to leave Gaza, a statement that has been met with outrage and disbelief. Human rights organizations have expressed alarm at the implications of these remarks, arguing that they undermine any prospect of peace and stability in the region. Martin Kettle, a political commentator, remarked Trump's Gaza plan has staggered the world. Did he mean it? For now, that doesn't matter. The chilling effect of Trump's statements serves to reinforce the already precarious situation for millions of Palestinians caught in the crossfire of ongoing conflict. The implications of Trump's policies are not limited to the Middle East. His administration has embarked on a broader campaign to dismantle existing governmental structures and social safety nets, and the U.S. reports of mass deportations have emerged, with Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) agents purportedly targeting sensitive locations like schools and hospitals. Bakery T. Sellers, a political commentator, highlighted that Trump's attacks on civil rights don't just affect people of color, they reach other citizens as well. This reign of fear has seen even American citizens caught in the crosshairs, a stark reminder of the administration's disregard for established norms and rights. Meanwhile, the Trump administration's recent moves have also turned inward, with the Central Intelligence Agency CIA offering buyouts to its entire workforce as part of a sweeping purge aimed at aligning the agency with Trump's national security priorities. This decision aligns with a broader strategy to overhaul the federal workforce, marked by waves of dismissals and the installation of loyalists in key positions. The CIA's new focus appears to center on drug cartels and U.S.-China relations, with little regard for the traditional roles the agency has played in global intelligence. As the administration continues to wield its power with increasing unpredictability, the impacts resonate throughout various sectors. From the international community's reaction to the potential humanitarian disaster in Gaza to the domestic fallout of Trump's immigration policies and federal workforce purges, the stakes have never been higher. The political climate underscores a stark reality: many Americans are left grappling with uncertainty about their rights and safety in a Trump-led America. Looking ahead, the question remains: how will the global community respond to these unfolding events? As opposition mounts both domestically and internationally, the potential for significant shifts in policy and public sentiment looms. With civil rights at stake and international norms being challenged, the need for collective action and advocacy has never been more pressing. The unfolding narrative of the Trump administration is not merely a story of political maneuvering, it is a pivotal moment that could redefine the contours of governance, civil rights, and international relations for years to come. The New York Times Company has reported a significant surge in its digital subscriber base, adding 350,000 digital-only subscribers in the last quarter of 2024. This increase has propelled the total number of subscribers to over 11.4 million, highlighting the continuing shift towards digital consumption of news and information. In a statement released on February 5, 2025, the company noted that this growth has contributed to a 7.5% rise in overall revenue, which reached $726.6 million during the fourth quarter. This marks an increase from $675.5 million in the same period the previous year. Meredith Kopit Levine, the chief executive officer of the New York Times Company, expressed optimism about the company's trajectory, stating, "This momentum gives us confidence that we can deliver another year of healthy growth in subscribers' revenue and profitability, as well as strong free cash flow." The annual revenue for 2024 also saw an increase totaling $2.6 billion, compared to $2.4 billion in 2023. The growth in digital subscriptions is indicative of a broader trend within the media industry as consumers increasingly favor digital platforms over traditional print. The Times added more than 1.1 million net digital-only subscribers throughout the year, with subscription revenue rising by 8.4% to $466.6 million in the fourth quarter alone. This growth was primarily driven by digital-only products, contrasting starkly with the decline in print subscriptions, which fell to 610,000 by the end of 2024, down from 660,000 a year earlier. Despite the decline in print subscribers, digital advertising revenue rose by 9.5% year-over-year, contributing to a more stable financial outlook for the company. Adjusted operating profit for the fourth quarter stood at $170.5 million, reflecting a 10.7% increase from the previous year. The full-year adjusted operating profit reached $455.4 million, up 16.8% from 2023. However, as the company embraces digital growth, it faces challenges. Operating costs rose by 6% to $580 million, partially due to litigation costs related to a copyright infringement lawsuit filed against OpenAI and Microsoft in December 2023. The New York Times also announced a new $350 million Class A share repurchase program and declared a quarterly dividend of 18 cents per share, a 5-cent increase from the previous quarter. Looking ahead, the New York Times anticipates that digital-only subscription revenue could rise by as much as 17% in the current quarter, with digital advertising revenues expected to increase in the high single digits. This optimistic outlook illustrates the company's commitment to its digital strategy, which is essential for navigating the rapidly evolving media landscape. As the New York Times continues to adapt to the changing preferences of its audience, the focus remains on providing diverse content through various platforms, including news articles, recipes, games, and sports coverage. The sustained growth in digital subscriptions signals a promising future for the company, positioning it favorably in an increasingly competitive industry.